arrangements that you're supposed to have in your organization as it speaks to what you want people to be able to do while in Teams. Should they be able to make calls? I mean, make one-on-one call, one-on-one chats, have existing chat within their meetings, and then be able to use certain applications within meetings, or basically do anything regarding what is happening in the meeting, right? So there are basically a lot of granularities around how Teams is being managed. That's the point I'm trying to raise. And we would only see those when we get to the admin center. On top of my head, I know that there can be a lot of requirements, either security requirements or compliance requirements, and whatever reason that may make you want to customize your Microsoft Teams meetings, right? And beyond meetings, also other settings that we also need to look at. We will definitely look at all those. So I want to make sure I share my screen now, just so we can have like a smooth rapport on what I want us to do. So I'm just sharing this screen, right? And so if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel where we stream, we're streaming right now, or where we upload these videos to share with, of course, this is the channel, right? You may want to check them out. And for this training, this is the 15th class that we're having this year, and that shows that we are doing well, right? But there's a playlist for this. So if you come to our YouTube channel here, you will see that we'll have TMCC virtual training. So if you check that, you'll really see that we've done like a lot this year already. And this is something that is important that we mention, so that people can know where to go find the trainings from day one. Having said that, I just want to pull up the tenants that we've been using for our demo, right? So that's opening the second screen. I'm just going to bring it on now. Hold on. Let me quickly pause this. So I bring this on the screen. Okay, so that's just a bit minimized. Okay, so I'll come here. This is the Teams Administrative Center. And really, if you've been following this series, you will know exactly how to get into the Teams Administrative Center. And it is really Teams, admin.teams.microsoft.com. That is the URL to get into Microsoft Teams. So while in Teams, you can decide to go into whatever session within Teams that you want to work on. From the beginning, we started off from the very dashboard of this admin center. We started off from the overview, the Teams premium license. On that Teams, we did a lot around the managing Teams, team setting, Teams policies, the Teams template policies, Teams update policies, Teams upgrade settings. And thereafter, we came into managing users, guest users last week, external access, so we're talking about block or allow domains, and then B2B collaboration. And today we want to continue from the Teams devices, because we need to be aware that there are dedicated devices for Microsoft Teams. So if you come to your browser and you just see Teams devices, right? So you really see that there are dedicated devices that are from major manufacturer, Logitech, a lot, right? So we'll see all of those. But this is how those what do I call them? Equipment look. You can see Surface, you can see Teams phones, right? You can see a lot of settings here, meeting room devices and all of that. We have headset that are even dedicated to Microsoft Teams, right? So, but what I want you to take away from this conversation is there are dedicated Teams devices, right? Okay. Having said that, if you look at Teams here and then you click on devices, you will see that Teams Room is one of the devices on Windows. You also have that on Android. You have Surface Hub. You have Teams Panel, Teams Phone, displays. You have SIP devices, right? And then all of these. Then beyond that, you have the Teams app, which is from here. I think we also spoke about this last week, how to manage block applications that are supposed to be blocked, and then enable applications that you want to enable in your environment. So, like I mentioned, the real deal for today is going to be on meeting policies, right? And if we still have time, we may look at the messaging policy part of our conversation. And then before we can wrap up this about Microsoft Teams in looking at Teams voice, right? That is very, very important part of Microsoft Teams. In short, if you look at the content of MS 721, you would confirm that it is specifically speaking to Teams voice. So let's say MS 721, right? It's collaboration communication systems engineer. So this is mainly about Teams voice communication that has to do with a lot in collaboration. And then something like around file sharing and all of that may not necessarily come on this topic, right? But about Teams voice, meeting rooms and stuffs around that. So Teams voice itself is huge. It is from here you find like a lot of things: phone number parts, operator connect, direct routing, service configuration, calling policies, and all of that. But we will not go into all those today. We will just focus on the meeting policy parts of, the meetings part of the admin center, and time permitters will also look at the messaging policies. Okay. So for meetings, we have first audio conferencing. So what is audio conferencing? Audio conferencing is, let's say, for example, you have a meeting that is ongoing, and then you do not have the means to join the meeting over the internet, but you have your phone that does not have access to the internet, that has communication credits or airtime. Then you can really dial in via audio source to that meeting and hear whatever conversations that are going on in there. And then you can decide to speak. People will hear you, but the only thing you will not be able to do, or the things you will not be able to do, include the fact that you will not be able to experience screen sharing, videos, and all of that, as it is strictly about audio. But the quality of audio is going to be very, very massive. Now, the point is that if you have audio conferencing set up in your environment, and then you are looking at how to make sure that you maybe limit, when I say limit, yes, control, that's the right word, control how you want audio conferencing to be handled. Because there are two ways that you can call into audio conferencing meeting, or call into a meeting via audio conferencing. And it's about who pays for the call, right? About who pays for the call, in the sense that if you are the one paying for the call, then it is a toll call that you are making, toll number, right? But if you are calling and you are not the one paying, definitely it is the organization that is the host of that meeting that is paying for the licenses that the communication credit that you are using in that conversation. So that means you are going to be calling a toll-free number. So really, what audio conferencing, in short, on that meeting here, we only have it as audio conferencing, and it's a bit not very clear. But if you have your cursor on top of it, you will see that it's saying open your audio conferencing policies. Okay, open your audio conferencing policy, and then that means that if you click on here, what you are going to see is how to control that toll-free number, right? So this is saying that audio conferencing policy control phone numbers and features available to users with audio conferencing. So you can use the global or wide default policy and customize it, or you can create one or more policies to meet the need of your organization. So for every policy that you have in Microsoft Teams, there is one that is constant throughout the policies, and that is the global org-wide default policy, because every organization eventually would have policy, whether they set up one or not. And that is what is called global org-wide default policy, right? So what audio conferencing is saying is that, do you want to configure or create do you want to configure the existing policy, or do you want to create another policy? So you have the option to create policy for audio conferencing. So let's say, for example, I want to create a policy. I can just, so what is even inside of the global policy, first of all, to start? If you click on it, you have that. It is saying that this is where you can manage what meeting features are turned on. Now, include toll-free number in meeting invite and create invite created by users of this policy. No toll number. So you can add a toll number and turn it on to say that the users include a toll-free number in their meeting invite so that people call into those toll number and your organization is the one paying. So this cannot be customized, but it was mentioned here that you can customize it. I'm sure that they want to review this statement because it's not customizable from what we can see. Customization in the sense that you could turn something on or you could turn something off, but you can see that it is read only here. You can neither turn it on nor turn it off, right? It's just there, okay? So they may want to review that statement because look at it. I'm just clicking and nothing is happening. So the better way to do this is for you to create a new policy. Of course, you can see that from here, excuse me, something just from here, right? You can see that you have option to add policy. So you can create policy by yourself. So also, if you look at here, you'll see that the custom policy for the global is showing no. For the custom for toll call only showing yes. What that means is that it is a custom policy, right? So you can actually, because it's a custom policy, you can decide to turn it off or turn it on, right? And then add a number that should display on that meeting. So how this works is that if you have that set up, right? So if you come to a meeting scheduled by someone who has the audio conferencing license enabled and audio conferencing configured, you have phone number that people can dial in with under the signature of the meeting invites, okay? But the fact that this policy is turned on will mean that the toll number, no toll number added, include toll-free number in meetings. It means that you can add that toll-free number here, right? And then allow people to call them, turn it on or turn it off. So, but this is just bothered around who pays for the call. Because when you now go here, say for example, you come back to manage users. So that user that is currently scheduling those calls, if you check, no, am I checking the right user? Let's see. So if you check usage under the user, you would be able to know how much of cost then he has incurred in the last number of days in terms of cost of the calls, then the call duration, and then the dial out, right? So these are speaking about dial in. So if people are dialing in via audio conferencing, where this user is organizer of the meeting, they'll have the details here. Then if it makes audio conferencing call as well, they'll be here. And the total cost of whatever it does, either calling a toll number or receiving a call to a toll-free number, the cost will be accrued here for audits. Okay. So having said that, right, the next thing is for us to look at, come down here, right, come down to voice, right? So under voice, you have phone number, no, not voice, rather. Under the same meeting, we come to the next item, which is meeting policies. So for meeting policies, there are policies that come by default also, but this time is beyond just global org-wide default, which is this policy. So if you look at this column here that speaks to custom policy, you see no, 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 you see no, yes, 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 yes. So for the ones that are no, there are policies that came by default with the tenants. So, and what are those? You have the global org-wide default policy, you have the all-on policy, you have the all-off policy, you have restricted anonymous. Let's just expand this to see that. Restricted, okay, anonymous access, yes. And then you have the restricted anonymous no recording. You also have kiosk and you have all off. So these are policies that come by default with the tenants. So let's say, instance, you want to look at the global policy, you can really look at it. What is Teams policy going to do for you? Now, if you want to allow people to be able to schedule meetings, right, you want to go for this. So if you are turning this off for people that have this policy, what you are saying is that they should not have scheduled meeting when they come to their calendar this way. So if they come to their calendar, this up here that says new meeting, they should not be able to see it. If you are turning this off, the private meetings or private meeting schedule, if you turn this off, then it's going to have that impact. Then meet now in private channel or meet now in private meetings, right? So what this is saying is that if you also come to this calendar, let me close this, it's confusing maybe. So if you come to this calendar right now, you see the feature up here. If I will need to zoom in, I can a bit, right, for better visibility. So you can see this, so you can click on this and then, not there. You can see Meet Now, right? So if you click on Meet Now, right, what Meet Now will do is put in the detail and then just click on Start. It will start the meeting, and then you can dial people into the meeting or copy the link to the meeting and share it with the people that you want to have as members or participants of that meeting. So this is what is called ad hoc meeting, ADOC meeting. That means you did not even plan it. It's just an emergency meeting. So if you want that feature to be available to users, of course, you can say, okay, it's fine. Meet now in private channel, meet now in private meeting is fine. You can allow this. Otherwise, you can turn it off. Then channel meeting schedule. So do you want your users to be able to schedule meeting in Teams channel? Meet now in channel meeting. So these two, I will explain them together, right? So if you come here now to Teams again, so it's saying that channel meeting schedule. So I really have to come up with Teams. Unfortunately, I've clicked a lot of things here, and if I don't see Teams here, I may just use another tenant to quickly explain that to you. So just give me a second. Let me bring up another one. So I'll just do teams.microsoft.com so that we can do our example from there. Just waiting for it to load up, and let's see. Come on. So that is just preparing us to get into another tenant where I have access to Teams. I've clicked a lot in the other side. So if I come to Team, we're talking about two things. One is Meet Now in channel, right? And the other one is, so for example, if is it Meet Now in private channel or just channel? Let's check, right? Meet now in channel meeting, okay, whether private or standard channel. So and then channel meeting schedule. Fine, no problem. Let's go there now and I'll show you. So if you are inside of a channel, which is here, by the top right hand side, you see like you see a camera icon. You can click on the down and then you see Meet Now, right? So you can do Meet Now, which is the first option, or schedule meeting. So if you click on schedule meeting, you will see that you can schedule a meeting and it will automatically add all the members of the channel, these members at the time, to the meeting. Okay, so that is if you don't want to be picking the members one after the other, the best way to schedule such a meeting is to like fall into the channel and just quickly schedule a meeting. But if there is any reason why you don't want that to happen, of course, you can just decide to turn the schedule channel meeting off. And then for the option of Meet Now also, the same thing applies. So for Meet Now, how you do that is there is no schedule to speak to time that you have to wait, right? So you just go there straight. Let's check now. So for this one, I want to discard this. So for this one, inside of that channel, you just come here, do that later. So you just come here, click on here, and say Meet Now. So when you say Meet Now, what will happen is it will just pop up this meeting in general channel. You can decide to rename it to say urgent request, urgent meeting. Or you can say quick catch up, something like that. Quick catch up. You can just say quick catch up, as the case may be. So that way you are quickly just scheduling a meeting without having to, even notify people or have it in their calendar. You are just moving on with the meeting. That is the Meet Now option. And you may not want people to be doing that, right? You may just want people to give a prior notice to people, right? And the point is that you don't have to, if you don't want people to just catch people unawares of meetings, you may just want to disable it globally, like for your entire tenants, or you may decide to just, basically turn it off for particular. You can do that from particular channel, right? But you can decide to do that for everybody within the organization, just so nobody has access to doing any Meet Now in channel. Okay, so that's it for the other two options that you have there. I will minimize this really quick. So that is it for Meet Now in channel. Then Outlook add-in. So unfortunately, I don't think I have the Outlook application here at the moment. Do I? Let me check quickly. I think I do, but I might sign in. So that is speaking to Outlook add-in. That means that when you are in your Outlook, you should be able to see Teams icon there when you are scheduling your meeting. If you want to have that, then you can allow Outlook add-in, or you may want to just disable it. Then that's it. So for example, if you want attendees and engagement reports on, but organizer can turn it off. So attendee reports from meetings, this is very crucial so that you know who attended and who did not, especially as it has to speak to school, right? You can use this to monitor or track the way students will report in your class, and those who are paying attention in classes, because it's going to track how people come and how people go, how people leave the meeting, right? So the point is that Meet Now, attendee reports is, I'm trying to also pay attention to LinkedIn when I'm having a pop-up. So I needed to see if I'll provide an answer to anybody on any of the channels that we are broadcasting to. So include attendees in the reports. You can say yes or no. Attendee information, show everything. You can decide to say show everything, only show attended people. Okay, so now the next point is the meeting and the lobby option. So this is speaking to, if people are coming into the meeting, anonymous people can join a meeting unverified. What does this mean? So this means that if you are joining a meeting without an account, it can prompt you. You don't need an email address. You kind of type in your name or the name you want to bear in that meeting, and then you just come in. So if the lobby is locked, then it means that you have to wait for the organizers to admit you. But unfortunately, anybody already in a meeting can admit somebody waiting in the lobby. So you want to make sure that that is tight, that whoever that is coming in, because it's anonymous, is anonymous. So even if he types any name, it's going to be able to pull through, right? So I will give you an instance of a situation where we had a customer one time that was speaking to the fact that somebody used a scary name. I don't want to mention that name on a live event, a scary name to enter into their meeting. One, they left their lobby on, that anybody can come in, right? And secondly, they allow anonymous, which is by default allowed. So this person came in with that scary name, attended the meeting and left. So when they were looking at the attendee reports, they discovered that that person coming in with that threatening name, and they begin to see how can they dig deep to see who that person was. Unfortunately, we can only see the IP address of the person, know the devices that the person used to join. There is no email address to track the person. You can use the IP to know the country, but you will not really be able to trace to kind of find out who the person is exactly. But if you had turned this off and the person had to join with a particular domain, maybe you'll be able to trace a domain to an organization or do a kind of lookup to know the organization that the person is coming from, right? So that's why you may want to turn this off, right, for your organization. Then anonymous users can dial in anonymous user and dial-in callers can start meeting. This is turned off. So I'll tell you two things that happens here. One is that if you turn this on, then you have a meeting scheduled. People that are joining from outside of your organization will just jump into the meeting and then it will say waiting for orders if it is turned off, if it is turned on. But if it is turned off, what happens is that the meeting will say, wait, when the meeting starts, we will let the organizer know that you are waiting on the lobby. There are two different situations now. The first situation is turned on. It means that when that external person just hit on the link to the meeting and say join, the person will say, we are still waiting for orders. That means the meeting has started. Let's say, for example, you put the meeting in auto recording. At that point, what it means is that the user's conversations, if it's not muted, will just continue recording, right? Or if the user is not even speaking, the recording will continue, okay? So somebody outside, and also people who use phone number to dial into audio conferencing can just kick off the meeting. Depends. If you want that on, you can turn it off, but I think it turned off by default. So who can bypass lobby? This is what you need to also look at. So that organization I told you about, turn this on to allow anonymous, and then come here to say that everyone can bypass lobby, right? Even though there can be granularity around this when you get to the meeting, right, itself. But this was turned on and this was turned off. This was turned on as well. So the guy typed in his query name, and because the lobby also allow everybody, he just saw himself inside the meeting. And then after the meeting was over, reviewing the attendee report, discovered that there is a threatening guy, or there's a guy that appeared with a threatening name. Now they cannot trace the person. So you have to be very intentional about these two settings here for your meetings in your organization. So who can admit from the lobby? Now you see organizer and co-organizer and presenter. This is very, very nice, right? But I don't know how this would really work because right now my meeting is this tenant is scheduled to be organizers and co-organizer can admit people from the lobby. But I know that once we are joining to this meeting and somebody is waiting on the lobby, any one of you can admit the person, whether you are an organizer or not. But I feel that maybe there's something we need to dig deep about this, right? If it is working as it is supposed to. So people dialing in can bypass lobby. It is turned on by default in the global policy, but you can decide to. When we get to custom policy, of course, you may be able to tweak this as well. So people can join external meeting hosted by anyone. So do you want to just say only people in trusted organization, or they should not be able to join external meetings at all? That's what we talk about here when you say no one can attend external meeting, right? So, and then require a verification check for, you can decide to say anonymous who and people from untrusted organizations should be verified first. So meeting engagements is very important. Meeting chats. So you want to say find related settings, right? So external meeting chat. You want people from outside. Look at it. Let's see this info. So when this is turned on, people who can read or write message in external meeting chats from untrusted organization. I will say that again. When this is turned on, people can read or write messages in external meeting chats from untrusted organization. So people that join your meeting will be able to read and also type messages in meeting chats. Then Q&A, when you schedule a meeting, do you want to have Q&A? Let me see if I will quickly have that here, right? Let me see. The Q&A session in your meeting. Yeah, this is it, Q&A, right? Do you want this feature to be available? Just in case. It's usually very useful also in live events, the Q&A session. So it's asking, do you want to enable Q&A? So what is Q&A? If you turn this on, organizers can enable a question and answer experience for their meetings. Okay. Reactions, sometimes it can be distracting in meetings. Do you want people to be able to react to messages within chats while the meeting is going on? One. Secondly, those emojis that you are throwing for meetings, do you want that to be possible? Right? You can also choose whether yes or no. The one very important and key part, because it speaks to data privacy, is content sharing. Now, there are some requirements for organizations, right, depending on their industry, that speaks to whether they want to, the way they will toggle on or off the features that we are looking at right now. So the thing is, participants can give or request control. This is, okay, if we start from here, who can present? Who should be able to present? Present is who can share screen. It's by default on everyone. So whether you have people from outside of your organization, whether you have people from inside the organization, it does not really matter, right? So anyone would be able to share screen. Or do you just want it that people in your organization and guests alone? So you go for the next option. Or do you just want it to be organizers and co-organizers, right? So you just truly need to look at what works for you as a person, and then you can set that. So if you only want that, no, people in my organization should not even be able to share, but only organizers and co-organizers. Depends on what exactly works for you. So that said, you can come to participants can, okay, we've left there. PowerPoint Live is also another feature that you want to check. Do you want them to be able to use whiteboard in their meetings? So you want to check that. Then in terms of collaboration, annotations, so you want to see if you want to turn that on or not. Then live share, then scheduled notes, and then other features like shared notes and all of that. And then organizer can restrict participants from copying or forwarding meeting chats. So when meeting is going on, you want to block people from copying and pasting chats, right? So this is, I think this is what's it called? Premium license required. So when this is on, meeting organizers have the option to turn off meeting copying and forwarding, right? Which include using keyboard shortcuts, right click, or the more action menu to copy or forward messages. If you want to stop people from doing that, but I see that it is a premium feature before this can be effective when it is turned on. So participants can excuse me, please. All right, thank you for holding brief. So this is here, right? You can decide to set it depending on what you want, but be aware that it requires Teams Premium license. So having said that, if you look at this other part, the watermark parts, all of these require premium license in itself. So watermark, anonymous for watermark for anonymous users, and then a host of other things. Recording and transcription part of it is another point that you want to look at. Excuse me, let me just quickly pick up something. So sorry about that. I think the issue here is sorted now. So mode for voice IP. So before this, we're talking about recording and transcription. This part is very important that we deal with. So meeting recording, do you want to allow recording first of all? If not, you can turn it off. So recording is not allowed for your meetings. Then require participants' agreement for recording, transcription, and then Copilot. So the point is, when this is on, participants must agree to be recorded and transcribed, and have their audio and video processed. Participants' audio, video, and content sharing are turned off until they agree to be informed in their recording and transcription. So what this is actually saying is that if you turn this thing on, before I can record the meeting that you are in, you must consent to be recorded. Not just by words of mouth, you must click on agree on your screen or give a consent by carrying out an action before your meetings can be recorded. The meetings that the users are can be recorded. Store recording outside of your region. This speaks to data residency, right? So transcription, while you are speaking, do you want to allow transcription? So I will really have to have a break about transcription in a bit and then show you something like real quick about it. I'm bringing up to the screen now where I am speaking. And if you look at my right hand side on this screen, you will see that everything I'm saying is being transcribed, right, into written words. Now, the good thing about what you have on this screen now is that if you have Copilots like I have available in your tenant, it will put all of these together later and explain them exactly how you want it to be in a very short and concise form in form of meeting notes. So the job of a secretary is way easier, right? So I'm always saying that Copilot license needs to be optimized because Copilot really costs some money, right? And organizations need to see how they can effectively use Copilot. But do you know that if you turn the transcription option off, then the meeting notes, I think I'm going to show us the meeting notes so that you will see how it really looks, right? You see the transcription already from what I'm saying here. You can see this part of my screen, right? Everything is being captured. Even as I'm speaking to you, it's still picking the words I'm speaking, right? So how do you access the meeting notes after a meeting has ended? So if you come to, this is the meeting for last week, you can see what I was talking about, attendance reports, when I was speaking about the attendee part of the meeting, So if I click here, really, I will see, even though I don't want to go back to where we had passed already, but I just wanted to see that we can really look at the attendee report. We can download it, right, and see how that meeting is. So for TMCC, right? So this is just me trying to, I think that was the meeting I started before I ended it, and then I came back to the meeting, right? All of this you are seeing attendees. I think this may just be the one that we have. No, it's still not, that we have multiple people. Because I do a lot of tests before we start most of our meetings. That's why you're seeing that in some of the meetings, I am the only one there. So maybe I'll use this one to look at something. So if you look at this, let me check this. Okay, so that's still showing just me alone because of my test. But then the point I'm trying to show you is meeting notes, right? So if you have Copilot, because you enable transcription, then you will have recap. So from your recap, you would see the meeting itself, and then you have the AI notes, right? You have the AI notes, which is going to show you like the details of the meeting. Let me quickly check. I'm not sure why that is not showing me what I would like to see. So let me come here to this. So this was last week's session, I guess, yes. So if I click on transcription, it's just opening on the other screen. Then here, you will see that everything that we said, set alarm, maintenance that are doing this one, right? Okay, so admin, go to Teams. Dot Microsoft is the URL where you right click, support and this and also whether things make sense or they don't make sense, this is just picking them to say. So basically, I'm not sure I can lay my hands on the particular documents like right immediately, but I know that this is transcription. So the good thing about you allowing transcription is that it will allow AI, look at the AI notes here. It will allow AI just do that note in a brief form where it can bring out the key points that you can decide to just say copy, right? And then you can paste that and see that it really makes a lot of sense. Now, why have I digressed to this point? Unfortunately, some people or some administrators would allow, some administrator will allow, we have co-pilots and then turn off, you can see it's saying AI generated, no, but be careful for accuracy, right? So some admin will have co-pilots and unfortunately turn off transcription for themselves. So that means that all they have access to would just probably be the transcription, which is almost indefinite if you look at it now, because it covers for the whole 2 hours speech that was coming from one person's end, right? It was just gathering that momentum down below. Nothing, right? So if you also check here, so for at mention, which is not part of our conversation, is if you have the Copilot license where your name was mentioned in the meeting, you will see it there. But if you come to AI notes, as compared with transcripts, you see that the AI notes is simple and short. So if I look at it, it is saying that the conversation that will happen, guest user and external access in Microsoft Teams. Joseph explained the differences between guest access and external access in Microsoft 365. He highlighted that a guest is someone outside the organization who has been invited to collaborate, while the external somebody, all of this is bringing out the key points. And if you want to go like right deep inside of it, you can also check this arrow to show you like the points one after the other, right? So you can see here, define a guest as someone outside the organization is just trying to buttress the points, right? So you can really see that the note is concise and it makes sense to even send to somebody to read and understand. But if you had turned off transcription from the Microsoft 365, I mean the Teams Admin Center this way, you turn this off. Where's the transcription? This one, you turn it off. It means that one, even if recording is turned on, the AI generated note will not be available because it depends on transcription to survive. All right. So recording and transcription automatically expires. So the meetings you record from your Teams calendar are saved to your OneDrive folder. But the meetings that you record from Teams channels are stored in the corresponding SharePoint sites of that channel. So how do I mean? For example, if I come to, I just want to close this guy and this guy and this guy. So if I come here now and I go to office.com, so there is a default folder in my OneDrive that saves the recording of the meetings I organize. But if I had organized those meetings from calendar, what it will mean is that, from Teams channel, what it will mean is that those recordings would be saved to the SharePoint sites of that team. So this is me going to OneDrive. If I come here and then I click on OneDrive from here. So if I get to OneDrive, I'll come to my files. So if I come to my files, I'm going to see a folder called recordings. So this is a default folder where all the meetings I scheduled, where if they are recorded, they will all be saved here. And if you look at it really, the last meeting we had was on the 20th, right? Which was April 20th. Before that was 13th, right? 1 week to this. And then 13th, there were two. The reason could be because, yes, I was trying to configure the live stream. The 11th, so probably a test that also happened. But if you look at 6th to 13, from 13 to 20th, you see that there are week interval. You can see like a lot of meetings that I've recorded. So what it is saying is that after how many days should a meeting recording from here get deleted from my OneDrive? Because I have 1 terabyte storage space of OneDrive to my accounts. And if I'm the one that is holding meetings every time, and these meetings are held forever, it means that it will be filling up my storage space, right? So, but if I come here now to allow this thing to get deleted after 60 days, it will just go into my recycle bin. Of course, if I'm looking for a meeting that was not supposed to get deleted, I can also go there and then I was trying to go to recycle bin and then I can restore the recording. You can see some recordings already expired because they are past 60 days already. And if I'm interested in a particular one that was getting away, I will just click on restore and to go back to where it was. So let's say, for instance, some even got deleted finally from here because they will stay here for another 30 days before they get purged into what is called the second stage recycle bin. But this we will deal with when we get to SharePoint and OneDrive. So really, if you look at this, your OneDrive, let's come back to my file, and then we'll come back to recordings. To recording folder. This is the folder recordings. There's S there. So if this is set to expire from here, this is what controls it. But you see that if I say it should not automatically expire, the number of days also disappear. But if I'm turning it on, I have between 100 and 99,999 days to allow it to remain before they can get deleted, even though retention policy is still one of the considerations that we need to put in mind. But retention policy supersedes the settings that you have from the Teams administrative center, right? But you can decide to say, okay, I just want it to stay for 120 days. And if it's no longer needed, then it should just expire. So that is what you can set there. But one thing to mention, which is like a hack to this whole thing, is that if a recording has been done and yet you want to remove expiration from the recording. So this was the recording of last week, right? If I decide to open it in stream, so there is a way I was able to manage the situation to this is speaking. So I was able to find a way to, if I open in stream, right, I would have option to remove expiration from the recording. That means that even if the admin had set the recording to expire after some certain days, the user himself can decide to say, no, this meeting is very important. Therefore, want to remove expiration from the meeting. You can see here saying April 20th, 2025, expiration in 53 days, right? So if you take April 2025 dates up until 53 days, will tell you what the policy is saying. So, but if I don't want this to ever expire, I will come here. So there's a place, I will click on the expiration dates and I can decide to extend the expiration by 60 days by a selected number of days, or I can decide to remove expiration at all. So that means that this meeting is ever going to get saved in my OneDrive. So as you work, right, you should also watch out for recordings that you would want to hold on to for a long time. And if you see that your recording policy, your meeting policy kicks against has a certain number of days. So you have to be aware of how many days your recordings are reserved. So that when you have a meeting that needs to get deleted after some certain number of days, then you want to make sure that, that should never be deleted. You want to make sure that you remove you remove expiration from that meeting, just so it doesn't get deleted out of your own will. Okay. So that said, because I'm talking about meeting expiration policy, meeting expiration, right? So I want to close that, and let me also see. I think I should also pause this, right? So that it doesn't just drag with us. So you can see at this point that the live, not why am I saying live caption? So the recording expiration is very important, okay? But if you want no meeting to even expire at all in the first place, you can just turn it off. But turning it on is not a bad idea, just to make sure that you have your space controlled. And then it is 120 that I want, right? So it depends. So now this is saying that live caption, no, not enabled, but users can enable, and then all of that. Copilot on with saved transcript required, right? Now look at it. I'm coming. Let me turn this transcription off and let's see what effect it will have. Transcription off, right? And then Copilot, I want to enable it. What is it saying? It's saying it is on with saved transcripts required, on with transcript saved by default. So you want to leave it at either ones on this, but in any case, make sure that if you want Copilot to be able to do anything with your recording, that transcription is turned on. Then for the audio part of it, make mode for IP audio, then voice conferencing, and then broadcast video and all of that. So one of the major things I want us to talk about also here is the live stream. So live stream, because now we are streaming to multiple channels. We are streaming to YouTube, we are streaming to Facebook, and we're also streaming to LinkedIn as well as TikTok. So I just want to verify the TikTok part of it, that it is going through as planned. So the point now is if you are going to go live on these multiple channels, then it means that within your meeting policy, you must also make sure that you enable stream. So how do you enable stream? I'm just trying to look through TikTok to see if that broadcast is going on, because I can see that happening on YouTube already. I can see that also happening on LinkedIn. I've not verified that of Facebook, but I want to believe that it's streaming to Facebook. Okay, so let's see. I think I don't want to waste our time. I want to believe that I can verify those later in terms of live. Okay, so this is
It's streaming.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for confirming that. Okay, so cool. So that means we are on right now on TikTok. We are right now on Facebook. We are right now on YouTube, and we're right now on LinkedIn. These are not complex situations. So by default, it's not possible, right? But how you do this, and I will really show you today, is you have to make sure that first, live stream from the meeting policy assigned to the user is turned on, okay? And then the next thing, this is the only default allow stream media input, the RTMP. You must enable this too. So once this is enabled, you save it and then allow it to propagate. So this is we're trying to. So I want to explain this live stream part to you. So once this policy is turned on for, like right now it's turned on in my organization. So it means that everyone will be able to stream, but this may not be safe for a practicing organization. So you may want to make sure that you limit it to a set of persons, and that is where custom meeting policy comes in, which we're also going to look at. But having allowed this, I think I will come back to this, right? So I'm not going to save anything. These were just for us to see, right? So, but if you don't want to modify the global policy, you can add your own custom policy. You can give it a name to say TMCC virtual training. TMCC virtual training. You can give a description and say this was a training organized by the Pillars Cloud Technology team, the Pillars Cloud Tech team, right? Now, what are you doing? You want to turn anything off? You want to turn anything on? You can do that. Whatever that is turned off in the global policy, you want to turn it on here, you can actually toggle them the way it pleases you, right? But one part that you need to know is that by default, this one is now turned on because even from the policy there, it is turned on. So if I turn it off and I say, no, the people I'm going to give this to, they should not be able to stream, I'll just save, right? So I may decide to also create a policy to allow streaming and then disable streaming from the global policy, like what I did. So what I did was I created a policy and it was not taking effect on time. I now created a policy called live stream enabled. So for live stream enabled, I assign it to only one user. So I want to cancel, I'll show you. Assign that to only one user. And who is that user that it was assigned to? Enable live stream, view users. You will see that it is assigned to me alone because I wanted it to be fast. So if you look at global policy, right? Global policy, if you make changes to global policy and you have a lot of users, I'm just trying to go back, and you have a lot of users, it will take a lot of time for that policy to take place. For example, the global policy is for everyone. That's why I'm not saying view user, for everyone in the organization, until you had created or you have created another policy and allow and assign it to the user, because the global policy is the weakest policy so far. Now, I created this live stream enabled. How do you assign policy to user if you customize the policy? You just check on the small circle here, and then you go to manage user, right? You say assign user. Let's say I want to give this policy to Benga to allow him stream to multiple channels. I'll just apply it and confirm it. That means that at this point, after a while, if the global policy had disabled streaming, Benga will be able to stream. And really, how do you now stream from Teams to other platforms? I will show you now. So when you go to, so I discovered that streaming is not allowed in, Teams on the web. I may be wrong, but I couldn't stream from the web. I had to use the application. Now, what you do is after enabling that, you click on add app, and then you will see this app called custom stream. So if you go to this custom stream, right, then what you do is you add the stream key that you are going to get. I don't want to disrupt the ongoing meeting. It will request for a stream key and a URL. Okay, I can bring up my Teams on the web just to show you how you would have experienced it there. Since I'm still trying to find my hands around this, I don't want to disrupt the ongoing session. I'm looking for this. So let's say I'm joining a meeting from the web. So I realized that if you enable that for a meeting, the previous meetings that were scheduled, recurring meetings that were created, you will not be able to stream those meetings. Okay, so it has to be like meeting that you created after the policy had taken effect. So I'm clicking on a new meeting. I'll just say this is a test enabled stream. Enabled stream, right? So test enabled stream, or whatever we are just calling it. So I may just want to be bringing one person to the meeting, and Benga is the closest person to my fingers now. So if I'm doing this, right, and then I am sending it out to him, right? So when that meeting is about to start, or when that meeting starts, okay, this is from the web, so I'm not sure it should disrupt what I'm doing. So if I'm joined in this meeting, So what happens is that I would come here to add app, and then I will see custom stream. So what happens is that something like this will come up for you. So just wait for it. It will just load in a bit. So just save it. And then when you come here, it will ask for your stream URL, which you are going to get from your third-party streaming tool, like Restream. And then you put the streaming key. Once you put the streaming key, from the desktop, you would see start streaming. But for the web, I don't see that, right? So it's possible that it is not there. And it's also possible that I do not know how to get there. But this is how to do it. And then once you do that, you come to your Restream. You come to Restream. If you come to Restream, you once that is on, you have it come like this. Person speaking isn't sharing video. So you see something like this, then you can check the channels that you want to stream them to add. So when you add, you select what channel do you want to stream to. So you have several channels: YouTube, Facebook, this, LinkedIn, TikTok, SRT, RTMP, Trovo, all of those platforms. You can really stream to them. Now, it depends on your plan, right? Because these are paid applications, right? So it depends on your plan. You can really decide to to stream it the way you want it to go. So this is the ongoing streaming that we are, right? And that's why we're having this on this particular session. And this is what we're having, like real life, pushing to people that are watching us from the various platforms. So you can see streaming to YouTube. You can also see streaming to Facebook. Even though this, I'm not sure why this is not working. You cannot go live on this session. This is not working yet. And then you can see streaming to my Facebook. That's working. And then streaming to my my LinkedIn account is also working. And then you can see streaming to TikTok is also working, right? And then that's how it is. But before you can do that, really, you must make sure, first of all, that you enable streaming from the meeting policy. So if you look at the whole of the things that we have done, you would really confirm that meeting policy has a lot to study in terms of categories, like starting from the meeting scheduling, you want to control things. The meeting join and lobby, you want to control some other things. The meeting engagements, you want to control some other thing. The content sharing also, you want to check. And then the recording and transcription in terms of expiration especially, and then the audio and video. So these are parts of the meeting policies that you can see. So having looked at this, I wouldn't want us to stretch too much beyond this. So I will just show you one more thing, and then before we go, for customization policy, this is speaking to people who have Teams Premium license. So use customization policy to customize the look and feel of your Teams meetings. Then you can use the global org-wide default policy, or you can create your own. But this actually speaks to when you have the Teams Premium license. For this is required, right? So this place, you want to customize the meeting visuals, that you want to allow organizer to control meeting theme, the meeting backgrounds, and all of those, which are Teams Premium license inclined. So, but the last thing I want us to look at today is the meeting settings, because people do not really know how to distinguish between settings and policies. So settings speaks to, policy speaks to set of individuals that you want. You can segment people that policy is assigned to. You can say, okay, that people in audit should have this, people in accounting should have this other policy, and then people in IT should have another policy. But when it comes to settings, setting is for everyone in an organization. So if you want to, even if you allow anonymous from meeting policy, but you come here to say anonymous can join meeting, is turned off. So it means that this is going to affect the whole of the organization. So meeting setting lets you customize meeting invitation, set up cross-cloud relationships, and manage network setting for all teams meetings in your organization. So you can really do this, right? If you say you don't even want Anonymous to join, you know Anonymous already. People who do not join with any identified email address, but they just join by typing their names only, right? So you don't want, if you don't want that, you can turn it off. Then if you also want them to be able to use application while in Teams, you may want to also allow them. And then also you can see cross-cloud meetings. Do you want to turn all this up on for them or not? So I think one of the major settings I can tell you here, apart from the network part, is this, right? Anonymous can join. And then one other thing to mention also is the what's it called? QoS, quality of service. If you're having issues with call dropping and meeting dropping and inefficiency in your network connectivity, it's always recommended that you turn on the QoS, which is the quality of service, to enhance your network. So set static ports, media, you can look at this. So if you look at this particular description, if you turn this on, all real-time media traffic for meetings will be marked. If they have this marking, the network packets can be prioritized, right? So that is what this is doing. It is about network clarity and packets travel for. So basically what I'm saying, the differences between policies and settings, because if you see meeting policy and you see meeting settings, you don't get confused. Meeting setting is speaking to the entire organization, while meeting policy really is speaking to meeting policy is speaking to what you can segment, but you cannot segment meeting settings. So that said, I want to thank you all from different platforms listening to us. And I want to say a very big thank you for your commitment so far, the TMCC team. And we are bigger than we were last year, and we believe that we will keep on rising. So at this stage, I just want to leave the floor for the team. If anyone has question, you can please ask. I'm also going to check the other channels that we are broadcasting to, just in case we have a question that is lying somewhere that requires attention. But at this time, I think you have the mic. You can decide to ask question where there is any. Thank you. Okay, so if I take silence for no questions, then I truly appreciate every one of us today out there for your time. We'll go again next week. From next week, we'll have someone else join us to speak on security, right? So I may have to be on the backstage that day also. So we'll be calling it a wrap here. And I sincerely appreciate your presence on the call. So I'm ending the streaming on YouTube first, confirm, and then I am ending the streaming here also on LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn family, and on Facebook. Thank you so much for following us today. And yes, for my private accounts on LinkedIn, guys, thank you for always being supportive. I may have to go now. And what other platform? For TikTok, first time in TikTok live. So I want to thank the TikTok support for responding to my query, for allowing us to now stream to TikTok even with less than 1,000 followers. So I thank you so much. Hopefully, we're able to use this medium to reach out to people. It's not just a business as usual for TikTok where people only go there for fun. People can also go there for learning, and I truly appreciate this opportunity. Thank you, TikTok. All right, so that will be all in all our live stream sessions. So I want to believe that we should be good now. And for us here on the Teams, I just want us to Just want us to stop the recording and then have conversation backstage. Stop. Ah, okay.